Intersection of multiple curses. How more than one curse operates simultaneously, creating amplification effects and layered entanglements. Most people think of generational curses as single, isolated patterns. One family carries poverty, another carries illness, another carries betrayal. In reality, many bloodlines are host to multiple curses at once. These curses don't just coexist, they interact, amplify each other, and create layered entanglements that make them harder to detect and even harder to break. A curse is like a strand in a web. One strand may limit resources, another may destroy relationships, another may drain physical vitality. On their own, each is damaging. But when multiple strands cross and knot, they create a spiritual net capable of trapping not just an individual, but entire branches of a family tree for generations. The mechanics of overlap. When more than one curse operates in a bloodline, their points of intersection become the most dangerous zones. These overlaps are where the damage compounds one curse amplifies the effects of the other. For example, a curse of poverty may intersect with a curse of illness, so that every attempt to earn money is derailed by health crises. A curse of betrayal may intersect with a curse of early death, causing the family protector or provider to be removed at critical points, leaving the family exposed to further sabotage. A curse of mental instability may intersect with a curse of substance abuse, magnifying cycles of breakdown and destruction. These intersections don't happen randomly, they are strategically maintained by the same spiritual structures that initiated the curses in the first place. Why multiple curses? Form. Multiple curses can enter a bloodline in several ways. Different entry points in history. One ancestor may have entered into an agreement that created one curse, while another ancestor in a different generation added a second. Marriage or union. Between cursed lines. Two bloodlines, each with their own curse, merge. Instead of canceling each other out, the curses often intensify. Deliberate layering by opposing forces. In cases where the family was targeted for elimination, destruction, or control, multiple curses may have been placed intentionally to ensure that even if one is broken, another remains to hold the bloodline in place. The amplification effect. When curses intersect, they often create the appearance of impossibility. Every attempt to address one problem triggers another. Breaking the curse of poverty doesn't work if the curse of betrayal ensures you can't trust partners, employers, or allies. Healing the body doesn't stop the cycle if the curse of addiction reopens the door. This is why people sometimes work diligently on one area of life and still feel as though they are getting nowhere. They've only addressed one layer of a multi-layered structure. Case example: the tri-curse trap. One bloodline carried a curse of betrayal, a curse of poverty, and a curse of violence. The betrayal curse ensured that every leader or provider in the family was eventually undermined by someone close to them. The poverty curse kept resources scarce, so they couldn't recover quickly from losses. The violence curse ensured that disputes escalated to physical harm, often landing family members in jail. On their own, each curse would be damaging but survivable. Together, they created a closed loop. Betrayal caused financial collapse provoked desperation, and desperation fed violence, which in turn led back to betrayal when family members testified against each other in court. Mapping intersections. Breaking multiple curses requires precision. The first step is mapping the intersections, finding where one curse feeds another. Questions to ask. Which patterns always seem to appear together? Which crisis triggers another crisis in the family? Which events in the family history have multiple destructive elements, e.g., a betrayal that also caused a financial collapse and a health decline? Once you identify the intersection points, you can see the architecture of the net. This allows you to prioritize which curse to address first and where the most immediate liberation is possible. Breaking layered curses. When curses intersect, breaking one can sometimes loosen the other, but only if they are spiritually linked. In other cases, you must break each one individually. The process involves identifying each curse's original entry point, recognizing the contracts or agreements that sustain each curse, disentangling the agreements where they overlap, dismantling any rituals, spoken words, or behaviors that maintain both curses simultaneously. The goal is not just to break the curses individually, but to dismantle the amplification effect that keeps the family trapped in a constant state of crisis. Understanding the intersection of multiple curses prevents you from falling into the trap of partial deliverance. Breaking one curse while another still operates can create a false sense of victory, leaving the family vulnerable to re-entanglement. Complete freedom requires dismantling the entire net. When you remove the overlapping points, you collapse the structure's ability to hold the bloodline in place. This not only frees the living, it prevents future generations from inheriting a tangled web they can't even name. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start: the black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child. And how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.